Also, I told you years ago, the feds are federalizing all over the world Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, training them to spy on their parents, training them for warrant service, training them to, quote, take on veterans, and for gun confiscation. That's in the New York Times. Oh, look how good the Explorer Scouts are. They're training to take on disgruntled veterans. They practice sweeping the home and taking out the vet and then taking the cache of weapons. That's the New York Times. That's in my film. Actual New York Times front page, and then with the color photos of it happening. That's in my film, Fall of the Republic. You cannot make this up, but it's back in the news today. And I noticed the first caller, and I went and checked online during the break. It is him, is Wyatt from Maryland. It was Wyatt in Maryland in 1998 sent me footage of an urban warfare drill with the Marines practicing to take over their town with their police, and the police walked up with the Marines with machine guns drawn and said, "You can't film us in America," and pointed the machine guns at them. That footage is in my film, Police State 2000. The first time I ever saw it, it was the Boy Scouts training to take on the local gun owners and telling the Marines where the militia members were, played by other Marines. They had the local police department involved. And I got this footage, and I showed it to people, and I said, look, they're training the kids to go after veterans' guns. Now it's mainstream news and back in the news today. And I was going to cover that near the end of the show. I have the stack right here. It's in the Sacramento Bee. It's in the Contra Coast Times. It's in the New Media Journal. The fifth column is the name of this column. Obama extends diplomatic immunity to Interpol by executive order. FEMA press release, national level exercise 2009, training with troops from 14 countries to take on the American people. Here's IDF, U.S. National Guard to share defense ideas. IDF forces to be deployed amongst U.S. military forces, quote, to take on U.S. terrorists on U.S. soil. Foreign troops right out in the open. Can't trust the American people, but you can trust foreign troops. Oh, here it is. Daily News. LAPD on course to take over Explorer program. Youth's new name, uniforms, insignia planned. LAPD taking over from the Boy Scouts. 3,000 young people in L.A. And then, folks, we've gotten the training manuals and video. Even the New York Times reports on it, but says it's good. They are training literally to confiscate your guns. And remember, I told you that 10 years ago. I told you when we got internal FBI documents, we got more earlier this year, it made national attention, the MIAC and Homeland Security report saying veterans, gun owners, libertarians, conservatives are the real terrorists. Homeland Security's really set up for you. We broke that. And the issue here is they are training your children to spy on you and to confiscate your guns. In fact, here's the New York Times. I got Jaron to pull it up. Jaron, can you pull up the actual New York Times for people, not just the print off? I want to click on the photo section, and I want to show prisonplanet.tv viewers. For those that don't know, that just listen to the radio, you can tune into prisonplanet.tv and watch the video. I want people to actually see the photos as the scouts trained to kill U.S. veterans, because seeing is believing. And, of course, this article says how great it is. Now, that said, I have no idea what Wyatt, who calls in about every 3 years, I went and checked the phones, and sure enough, it was him. Wyatt, you're the first guy to send me video of this in 1998, 11 years ago. And, boy, we were kooks. People didn't even believe the video of dozens of kids out in their white T-shirt uniforms, directed by the Marines, in gun confiscation, now in Arcadia. Earlier this year, we had the colonel on. He admitted, yes, we're training with the locals and the kids for a gun confiscation drill. They're quite honest. Your children are being trained to take your guns. This is what America is all about. This is what George Washington was all about. Good to have you here with us, Wyatt. Perfect day for you to call in.
Well, thank you, Alex, and I'd like to wish you and your family a Happy New Year, and hopefully it'll be a much, much better New Year. In Hebron, Maryland is where that was, and there was also another guy there. His name is Sheldon Isaacs, and I've lost touch with him. I don't even know where Sheldon is, but he's the one that the Marines came up to at night and told him to turn his camera off, and had their guns ready, had their military weapons. These are all lieutenants that were involved in this. First, and it was a gun confiscation drill that was set up by these young lieutenants. Anyway, the kids on the bicycles, I talked to them and I said, hey, you know, this stuff that's going on in your town is really terrible. I said, what you ought to do is go back to them and say, hey, there's somebody down by the grain silos that is an insurgent. Well, they went back and told them that, and my God, they started sending Humvees down the street, and they were actually looking for me because the kids told them who said it. And
well, you know, that's the problem. People don't know history. They don't know in ancient Rome or in Nazi Germany or Soviet Russia or Maoist China or Pol Pot's Cambodia. When the state starts coming and militarizing your children and literally turning them against you. Remember, all this training was going on before 9/11. And I'll never forget the Rand Corporation said, there's going to be big terror attacks. We're going to set up a thing called Homeland Security. We're going to take everybody's rights. And now Rand Corporation wrote up the plan to fully federalize all police. That's already happened. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is all pointed at you and your farm and your ranch and your business and your paycheck. This has nothing to do with Al-Qaeda. Now, Wyatt, I got you off because, Wyatt, Maryland, you call every 2 or 3 years. But I got you off on other subjects. What did you originally call in about?
Okay, well, what I called in about, it kind of goes hand in hand with this Detroit situation. Tonight on 60 Minutes, they're going to have a CIA agent or CIA whatever discussing about the direct possible attacks of terrorism in this country.
Yeah, stay there. You notice they've been getting us all ready for it. Stay there. The underwear bomber, the syringe bomber, clearly a patsy, bare minimum, protected, brought by a sharp-dressed, commanding man in a suit, past security, to the gate. This man has no passport. You're ordered to let him on. The airport people stood down and followed orders. And this has been reported by the witnesses. This is reported by European news. This is being reported by British news, but not U.S. news. And it's always the same story over and over and over again. And understand, you are the target. All of this is going to be used to sell the population on accepting a police state. And we have the internal Homeland Security documents. It's all about the American people and gun owners and landowners. It's all about you, the producers' paycheck. You know the government lies about everything. You know they steal. You know they're controlled by special interest. They've set up Homeland Security to rob you. Period. It's called tyranny. Wyatt, finish up your point from Maryland. Yeah, they've got all these special TV shows. Oh, insiders say Al-Qaeda's about to hit. That's why we've got to expand the wars and have body scanners at all the airports that record our naked bodies. And that's why we've got to have checkpoints on the highways, and because Al-Qaeda's about to hit us.
That's right. What they're going to do is they're going to use those body scanners as a priority because of this situation, this make-believe patsy situation. And they're going to make hopefully it won't be only shoes. They'll make you take your underwear off. I don't know, but it'll probably be mandatory that everybody has to go through these body scanners now. I don't know what the terrorist attack or the false flag attack might be. It could be anything. Evidently, the H1N1 situation didn't work out too good for them. They probably did manage to get enough children inoculated with the poison. Pretty much that's about it, Alex. I just, once again, I'd like to wish you, all your listeners, and your audience there a happy New Year. And I know, for one thing, there are certain things that I'm going to be taking into hand for the new year, and it won't be anything to do with confetti. Anyway, thanks, Alex. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Good to hear from you, Wyatt, Maryland. 11 years ago, he sent me footage of children being trained to take your guns in America. And now it's in the news. Oh, look, the children are training to confiscate a disgruntled veteran's firearms. They practice sweeping the home and terminating with a seek and destroy mission the disgruntled vet. I mean, that's in the New York Times right here in my hand. Scouts trained to fight terrorists and more. New York Times, May 14, 2009.